If we can reduce the concepts of the masculine and feminine down to their most basic fundamental level, we can see how these concepts are the starting point for everything that exists. If we can understand what these concepts represent at a quantum level, then we can shed more light on what they really are and what they really represent so that we can implement them more effectively in our lives. So let's go back all the way to the beginning before the creation of anything physical or material began, and all that existed was formless energy. Think of Source as just a static field, and the feminine represents a disturbance in this field. This disturbance creates waves like ripples of water, which contain all of these possibilities and potentials for what can be created. These waves are what we call energy. The masculine is when this energy forms into a bundle called a wave packet in quantum physics, creating the appearance of something physical. The formation of a wave packet solidifies a creation in the physical, which eliminates all other possibilities. So imagine the feminine as this wave holding all of these possibilities represented by these dots, and then one option is chosen and becomes a particle of matter. In quantum physics, all fundamental particles that have been identified have a dual nature, meaning they have properties of both waves and particles. They have both the feminine and the masculine. Over time, they have become more and more enmeshed with the physical and have been shaped by physical environments to become what we know them as today. At a fundamental level, the feminine represents possibilities, and when it comes to our minds and how we think, the feminine has come to represent an openness to possibilities, ideas, and perspectives, which is why it can then represent receptivity, intuition, imagination, flow, and creativity. It also represents emotional openness, which means it can then represent empathy, compassion, nurturing, and love. The masculine represents the removal or restriction of options, ideas, information, or emotions in order to choose a specific path. The application of this in our lives can require logic, structure, reasoning, discipline, and boundaries to block out what doesn't serve us and take action towards what does. For a long time on this earth, there has been an overvaluing of the masculine and the limiting of beliefs and being set in certain perspectives and tradition, and an undervaluing of feminine openness. Most of us tend to place one of higher value than the other, and we can also have one area where we lean into the feminine more and another area where we lean into the masculine more. There is this constant balancing we do as we recognize beliefs and perspectives about ourselves or the world that aren't serving our highest good because they aren't promoting peace, joy, stability, security, and abundance. Throughout our lives, as we work through negative emotions, limiting beliefs, fear, and insecurities and heal these, we're doing this dance between the masculine and feminine. We're constantly employing both aspects of ourselves in order to create balance. When we are holding onto a belief or perspective that is based off fear, limitation, or disempowerment, this means our feminine and masculine aren't working together. When they're working together in unity, we feel a sense of wholeness and empowerment, and we are able to create stability and security in our lives emotionally and physically. We often think of the feminine and masculine as healed and unhealed, but what is really happening is we've been taught by our experiences to reject a part of ourselves, and we're trying to push away that part of us. Our negative experiences can make us believe that one part of us is a threat that will create pain, difficulty, or instability for us. When we attempt to push away a part of ourselves, we will lack the full stability, abundance, and happiness that is available to us. I made these charts to show the difference between when the masculine and feminine are being utilized fully and when they're not, and how this can manifest in our lives. And both gray columns can resonate for different areas of life. For some of us, openness and emotions are something we've come to believe that we should be ashamed of or embarrassed by. We can learn to repress the feminine side out of fear of looking weak or being treated harshly. We may have also never experienced healthy nurturing in childhood. We can also have had a lot of pressure put on us regarding how we should be and what we should believe, and we can go into adulthood with a limited mindset where we believe there's only one right way of thinking and being. When we are not utilizing feminine openness, logic will be based off of a limited amount of information which may not be the sum of truth. We may only be able to see what has been and not what can be. On the other side, we can lean more into the feminine and be extremely open and place a high value on love and empathy towards others. This can mean that we've had negative experiences with the masculine energy. We may have never experienced this as a positive, protective energy, or we've experienced it as a repressive and uncompassionate energy. This can cause us to have difficulty incorporating the masculine as a force that can create more stability and security for us, like through setting boundaries or using structure and discipline to set a goal and move towards it. Utilizing the masculine to continuously move forward, take action, and create change gives us a sense of empowerment and emotional security, which naturally goes on to create physical security. When the feminine isn't followed by the masculine, we can stay in a state of possibilities and options, but never take the steps needed to ground a new possibility into the physical. We can also stay in a place of only taking action based off of unconscious emotions, not recognizing that our emotions are causing us to sabotage ourselves. In order to achieve balance, we need to feel both the sense that there are options and possibilities in life, along with feeling that we have the ability to move towards them. In order to have a healthy relationship, we need to be able to be compassionate and understanding while also holding boundaries with the aspects of others that aren't good for us. In order to heal, we have to be willing to take accountability for ourselves and discern which emotions are causing us to sabotage ourselves while also having self-compassion. And in order to gain wisdom, we have to be open to the ideas of others without becoming triggered by their opinions while using logic and discernment to question them. The truth is, we don't actually heal the feminine and masculine because these are just concepts. All we're ever really healing is the disempowerment that comes from not feeling a sense of wholeness and not embodying our full power. When we want to make a change in our lives, we must first become open to a possibility that is different from what we are currently experiencing, then understand where we want to go and how to move towards it through healed, guided, empowered action. As we do this, we are using our masculine discernment to reduce possibilities back to what is actually in our highest good, and back to pure wisdom and truth. The masculine then becomes a restoring force, collapsing creation back to non-duality. It's like at the balance point between the two, when they are both being used equally, they cancel each other out and produce our true, divine, powerful nature, leading us back to source and unity. Visualize the feminine in the center. When the masculine is on the left, being valued more and placed in front of the feminine, it's in an unnatural place where it's blocking the feminine openness from being accessed. And when it's on the right, it's in its natural place where it can be utilized alongside the feminine. The feminine stays still because either the feminine is being accessed or it's not, which is determined by the masculine. Whether the masculine is on the left or right is determined by whether the negative emotions, limiting beliefs, fears, and insecurities in that particular area are healed or not. When this is healed, the masculine is no longer blocking the feminine and automatically materializes on the right in its natural, balanced place. The feminine has to come first in the lineup because we have to be open to new ideas, perspectives, and options before we can sift through them to find the truth of what is in our highest good. If we limit options first, then we block the ability to be open to anything new that could serve us more. And I have to point this out that this isn't about feminine superiority, it's about the original quantum order of the feminine and masculine. When the masculine is first, they are unable to work together in unity in their natural order, but when it moves to the right, they combine forces and we draw in and create more of what we want and push away more of what we don't want. When negative energies, projections, and fear come our way, we're able to set up mental boundaries that protect the feminine's ability to remain in an open and receptive state. These mental boundaries, or this masculine container, come from embodying a sense of empowerment where outside noise can't break through our sense of inner power and our strong sense of self. Our sense of self strengthens the less and less we identify with the disempowered version of ourselves that we've always viewed ourselves to be. We're then able to create more security in our physical lives because we have this emotional security. We begin to react to people and situations differently, and we begin to make different choices in life that result in more stable outcomes. This is how we create more peace, joy, and abundance in our lives. Often when the feminine isn't followed by masculine wisdom, discernment, and discipline, we may allow our actions to be completely determined by unconscious emotions. Our fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs will unconsciously direct our actions, keeping us in the same difficult cycles. Sometimes it takes masculine discipline to push forward past emotional blockages like shame, depression, or low self-esteem. The masculine helps us to override our current internal programming that was created by negative experiences. We do this when we're able to set a positive goal and continuously take small steps towards it despite our emotions, and we allow discipline to keep us on that track to a better future and towards growth. This keeps us flowing between the feminine and masculine. When our forward movement halts, we can experience a lack of motivation and passion, and we can begin to feel powerless in our lives. It's also important for us to understand how our internal balance is contributing to the collective balance of the masculine and feminine. Our internal balance impacts everything in our lives: relationships, stability, money flow, political views, and our beliefs about what is right and wrong. We are constantly grounding our internal balance into the 3D world, which goes on to impact everything at a larger scale. If we ever want to see change and the creation of true stability in our world, We have to heal and find balance within ourselves first.